Before I continue, I would like to say thank you very much, Professor. Thank you, everyone, for your presentation. It has been very insightful. It has been very, very convincing. I will say well done to everyone. Thank you, Professor. I do appreciate your presentation. First of all, I want to talk about the transformation. While Professor was talking earlier on, a lot of contribution came in, which was transformation. It's about changing the way we think. It's about changing behavior, learning new ideas, converting knowledge into skill, and be able to have a change of perspective about the educational sector. I was so impressed with that feedback with regards to transformation. Now, the transformation we are referring to right now, it's about who you are as an educationist, your influence in the life of the students, and how you are imparting them positively. Now, the increasing globalization and cultural exchange has totally influenced the educational sector. Now, I want to start with the skills involved in terms of transformation. Number one is communication skill. The communication skill in Nigeria and in China with the students, likewise with those in China, is basically a very strong communication skill, a logical skill, analytical skill. When we talk about first aid, child mental well-being and protection, or we'll talk about visual reality, hands-on activities. There are a lot of skills involved in this 21st century teaching and education. Now, the transformative practice, it's about implementing a well-strategic skill related for each child based on the curriculum, the scheme of work, and based on the syllabus. I'm going to quickly run through, I only have 5 minutes, so I'm going to run through the practice. Based on Dr. Maria Montessori in the 21st century talked about, number one, collaboration. If there is collaboration in the body, in the educational body, there will be a transmittive, there will be a positive growth, a positive product, and there will be a positive assessment. Now, the next thing I will talk about is the hands-on activity. If I say hands-on activity, I'm referring to improvisation of non-existing resource material being provided by the educational sector, the government. Now, another thing we're going to look at is about the project-based, inquiry-based, research-based teaching and learning in the educational sector. That is what brought about a convincing change in the education of Nigeria, likewise in China. Now, the system of education is 6334. 6334, which means we have the basic education, the primary education, or you can call it elementary education, that is from grade 1 to grade 6. The middle school, which is KS3, they run from year 7, year 8, and year 9. Likewise, from year 10 and 11, that's KS4, is another basic education. Now, the bone of contention to create a formidable force in the educational sector in Nepal compared to China and Nigeria is not about the system itself, it's about the process and the individual involved in the process. Now, Professor made mention of the system, which is in existence, but the process needs to be worked upon, and also the individual, the educationists, the teachers, the principals need to overhaul the educational sector, thereby enforcing hands-on practical life experience, not only theory. Number two, ensuring that children, of course, they are eager to learn, they are independent explorer, they are ready to explore as the case may be. Now, the difference or the transformative practice there is the application of the hands-on learning, one. Ensuring the students are self-developed to find out and find projects to do with their learning. Three, ensure that resources are provided for the students to engage in group discussion or peer discussion. According to De Bono's theory, Thinking Hard, it talked about different aspects of learning, which means that you can use different methodology, strategy to deliver your lesson in the classroom, even as an educationist. Now, one major learning style, one major thing is the learning style. And the learning style, it talks about the audio learners, the visual learners, the audiovisual learners, and the kinesthetic learners. Now, all of these students in the classroom, they are all having one special style or the other, or two or more style or the other. Now, one major transformative practice employed in Nigeria and also in China that I worked as an expatriate on work visa, resident visa, and work permit is that we engage students in hands-on learning. We ensure that each learning style are met and attended to. If you have an audiovisual learner, provide means or medium to reach out to the student in that audio style. If a child loves to see visual learner, get materials within the vicinity or from home or provided by the government or by the school based on the curriculum to teach your learners. Another thing is about evaluation and assessment. Assessing a student can be formative assessment or summative assessment. In Nigeria and China, the transformative practice is assessing a child on daily basis, on weekly basis, on half-term basis, and a whole-term basis. Please call continuous assessment, continuous formative assessment, continuous summative assessment to determine the progress of the child. Another good thing, I'm trying to run through under 5 minutes. Another good thing is strong communication with your parents, strong communication with the government body, strong communication with the management of every parastatal so that they can incorporate and join force with the school in achieving the aim and focus. Another thing that brought about transformation in Nigeria, likewise in China, is number one, which is called classroom management and behavioral management. Now, how do you manage a class? How do you control the class? You need to how you call skills and expertise in order to ensure that all your students are learning. Now, take this. Every child is different. A child A is different from the child B. The learning capability, the retention capability, the skill and the innate potential of A is different from B. So as an educationist, ensure that you practice all the strategies required to reach out to every child based on their need, based on their capability, based on the potential. Education is about imparting information and knowledge into a child and ensure that that knowledge is turned and converted from raw knowledge to skill and lead us from theoretical application to practical application of concept. Now, education has gone beyond, I don't have resources. It has gone beyond, I don't have what it takes. It requires you to make every effort to prepare your lesson. Ensure that your lesson, your learning objective, your learning outcome suits the purpose of the concept being taught at that point in time. So which means that ensure you create an avenue for students to get engaged, for students to be involved in the learning process, that is the child-centered learning, for the child to be involved in communication. How will a child be involved in communication, collaboration, critical thinking, imaginative thinking? It's when you engage them in activities. And last but not the least, I'm careful about time. It's about extension. It's about extension. Every child have the level of capability. Those that are called high flyers, engage them with extension work. Those that are middle flyer or low flyer, ensure you create a remedial class for them to improve on what they are doing. All right, so at this point in time, I want to quickly take our time to round off. My time is up. Look at the round off. In a nutshell, the cultural background in regarding transformative practice in Nigeria and also in China can rub off on the progress and the educational background of Nepal if all of these activities, all of these points are put in place to ensure that things fall in place. Now, as Renewable Foundation Nepal, Itoda, we are working on particular vision, which is to reach out to as many as we can, because of one thing, we believe in creativity, innovation, we believe in imagination, entrepreneurial mindset of every child. And we believe that no child should be left aside, no child should be pushed aside because of lack of money, of lack of fund. That is why the foundation is in place. And I believe that the government will support the foundation financially in such a way that we can reach out to as many. We have a lot of innovation. We have scientific innovation. We have the entrepreneurial, department. We have a lot of departments in place right now. And that there will be a formidable educational sector in Nepal, and the transformative nature that we expect, that we envisage, will be poured into all educationists, all teachers in Nepal, as they influence the mindset, the growth mindset, not a fixed mindset of the students and of the pupils in the school. And by so doing, there will be a positive change in the educational sector. I'm going to draw the curtain at this point in time. I think I've exhausted my 5 minutes. If there is any question, I wouldn't mind taking that. But I would like to hand over to Mr. Ayush Basnet. And one more thing I would like to say is that thank you, Mr. Kishan Bastola. He's a great person. I do appreciate your effort. And thank you for inviting me for this webinar. And I want to believe that we are in this together. We will make a change, we'll create a formidable force in Nepal. I've signed in and I've agreed to do everything applicable to cause a positive change in Nepal. And I believe that it will be possible through the foundation, through Professor Balkandra from Kathmandu University, through the assistant professor, that is Bino Prasan. I have a lot of them here, but I thank you so much for the opportunity.